Hey guys, it's Keetyn.
And this is Jade, and you're listening to the Mate for More Girls podcast.
All right, this is episode 5. I'm going to tell y'all we're having a little bit of technical difficulties with our sound as far as like there's a crackling in the background and we can't figure it out. It's coming from like our audio box that we use. And so if you hear that, just try to ignore it. We're trying to. We're going to persevere through it. We're going to record this episode because it's an important episode. So, if you hear it, just try your best to, completely put it out of your mind.
Please remember, we are giving you the most real, authentic version
Uh,
of ourselves, and it's two girlies that cannot figure out audio.
we can't figure it out, and we're probably going to have to buy something to
Something else.
something else, and it's gonna be fine though, because you know what? We're still having fun,
We are.
and this is, like we've said many times, this is so fun for us, and even with sound issues, it's still okay. It's still okay. We're fine. Yeah, just take a few deep breaths. Not try to uh, throw the box across the room. Okay, so this episode, Jade is going to do kind of what I did a couple episodes ago and share her testimony and specifically her life surrounding her dad. So this is a very sensitive episode and just want to prepare y'all for talks about grief and things like that. So, on that note, we're going to just dive into talking about you and your dad. But like I said, be aware, be kind, and just know that this is very sensitive to you. It's very sensitive to me as well, but this is an important thing to share. So, okay, starting us off, can you just explain and describe who your dad was like at his core and what kind of dad he was to y'all?
Yeah, I would love to. My dad was, oh my gosh, he was just so fun. He was so energetic. He was so goofy. To put that in perspective, he was a police officer until the time that he passed. In his last couple of years of that, he was an SRO, which is a school resource officer. And so he worked at schools. And for his yearbook, he decided to buy a, I guess, 70s,
Yeah.
70s wig that
Well,
is,
kind of like
I
80s
guess it's
because
more
it's
80s.
rock.
Yeah, rock. But an 80s all black, like wild wig. Like it was half mullet, half like
Think of
Kiss.
Kiss slash Motley Crue
Yeah. Just like,
mixed black hairband
yeah.
wig. Very.
Very spunky and spiky, and then the back is a mullet. That's straight. And he wore that to school pictures, and that was his ID badge. That was in the yearbook. Like that was
That was
everything.
at his funeral too.
That would yeah, that made his funeral. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And so he just every picture we took, it was always we might have one serious one for like the people that want it, but like we always had to take funny ones as well. Like we could not have something that was fun. We used to go to Dallas Stars games, which are it's a hockey team, and the Spice Girls would come out. They're like the dancers, but they're on
Yeah.
ice, and he would literally scream at the top of his lungs, "Spice Girls!" And so it was just like so much fun all the time. I mean, there was never a dull moment at the house. It was never quiet because he was always singing opera or quoting a movie or doing whatever he wanted.
Or debating someone on the most
Oh my
random
gosh.
stuff.
Yeah, my dad was such a good debater too. Like
Yeah.
he knew how to like stay composed and not get angry. Like he
Mhm.
could work someone else up and he's just like laughing, just having a good
Oh
time.
my gosh.
So he was just so much fun. And but on the flip side of that, he was a police officer, so he was definitely more stern, especially just growing up because he wanted my brother and I to understand what the world was like and to recognize the danger and the scariness and that not everything was rainbows and butterflies and that there was a seriousness to it. one of my favorite things that he always did growing up is anytime he would drop us off somewhere, he would always say, be a leader and not a follower.
Mhm.
And I think that little things like that, that's just a few words that he would tell us every single day. And I think that that shaped our little
My dad did the
brains.
same thing.
And like
Yeah.
something that my brother and I always remember doing or like hearing was people would always be like, oh my gosh, they just act so much more mature than they are.
Mhm.
And like they are always so helpful and they just are so respectful. And like later on, like my brother is now a police officer following in his footsteps. And then I am a nurse. So those are kind of both like more leadership roles. I also host a life group and I started a book club. And so there's just like these roles where my brother and I stepped into, you know, a form of leadership. And I think that all of that stemmed from having someone who pushed us to be there constantly.
Mhm.
And I can't appreciate anything more because it's just such a good quality to have in life to be able
Mhm.
to step out and be the first one to do something or just take charge of a moment. And I definitely don't think I would have had that. And same with my brother if it wasn't for him.
1000%.
Yeah.
1000%. I want you to kind of give the listeners a little bit of background about, the kind of cancer that your dad had and just like how y'all found out. And then I have more questions to follow about after your dad got diagnosed.
Yeah. So back in 2020, my dad woke up one day and he had his glasses on and his eyes were being funky. And so he put his contacts on because he definitely needs those. And he felt like he described it as like looking through water in just one of his
Mm,
eyes. And it wasn't anything he's experienced before. Like he cleaned out his contacts, cleaned out his eyes, and it was still happening just in the one eye. And so he went to the eye doctor that day and they did scans and all that stuff and they found a freckle that
mm-hmm.
they were like, this is weird. This wasn't here before. We're gonna send you out. So he goes to Dallas and basically, long story short, gets diagnosed with ocular melanoma. And so my dad goes and gets surgery to remove that part of the cancer from his eye, which is crazy because he was awake the whole time. Because you
Oh
have
my
to be awake
gosh.
for pretty much everything eye surgery.
There's no way.
And
I would be
so,
freaking
yeah, it's
out.
it's actually insane, and it's a true testament to like his strength. Because I could never. You better drug
Uh-uh.
me up.
Drug me up.
But
Put
so,
my butt to
yeah,
sleep.
absolutely not. And so he did that, and he had to like keep going to the doctors very often. So he would drive back to Dallas every few months just to do scans again, make sure it wasn't growing, make sure nothing had changed. And he was actually getting injections in his eye, which is also crazy because he's awake for those too. And it was cool because he told me that it's kind of like when they give injections to kids, they like boop and make noises and
Oh
like touch different
yeah.
parts of their bodies. This doctor would do it with grown men
Oh yeah.
because I'm about to shove a giant needle in your eye.
Uh-huh.
And so that
I've
was
had
always,
shots in my head. I could not imagine
well,
getting
that's awful too.
a
Like,
shot in. Yeah. Oh, 1000%. Like
yeah,
steroid shots in my
no.
head. I
Ugh.
could not imagine doing it in my eye. I thought in the head was bad.
Yeah.
No.
It
No.
just it's just insane. But so we got to a point though where he was just going to his doctor's appointments and his injections and life was good. The biggest thing that he was worried about is that he was going to have to remove his eye
Mm-hmm.
because one, that doesn't get you any sort of disability, so
Yeah.
you're just down an eye, but that doesn't help you in any other way as far
Mm-hmm.
as like the healthcare world. And as a police officer, that's risky to not
Yeah.
have to only have one good eye and he definitely has to have glasses or contacts at all times. So he's already
Mm-hmm.
at a disadvantage there.
Yeah.
And so just a scary thought like to take an eyeball out and then you have one. And
Yeah.
so we were doing really good and 2024 hits. I was getting married in December, okay? And
Which he's
so
like technically in remission
yeah,
at this
he was
point.
almost. So
Oh, okay.
his 5 years would have been April of 20 or I guess it's like April, May of
Five.
2025. So we're about almost a year, a little under a year before that in July, August, my dad, he's always been a bigger fella and he decided he wanted to, just start getting in shape and just like really care about his body. And so he started working out, he was eating healthy, life was good. And we were all getting prepared for my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting my job in the NICU. And so I was doing that and then getting ready for the wedding. And so I don't think that I was picking up on things that maybe I could have been if I wasn't doing either of those two
Yeah.
things. And so all I know is the week after I get married, I come back from my honeymoon and my dad calls me the next day and tells me that I'm sick. And literally he didn't say like, "Oh, I have cancer again." Like he just said I'm not well. And
Mm-hmm.
he proceeds to tell me that he has had no appetite. He has lost over I think like 20 pounds
Which
or
he was
more.
looking skinny at the wedding.
Yeah, which some people were like, "Oh my gosh, Daniel, you just look so good." And other people were like starting to catch up on it. And so he was like, "Yeah, I've just lost a ton of weight. My urine is dark. I'm like not even eating one meal, just all these symptoms." And I was like, "Awesome. This is great." But he
Mm-hmm.
just put it off as, "Oh, I'm just sick." You know how guys are, one, they don't want to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
And then
Mm-hmm.
two, I think it was just in general, parents and then also men, they're just like, "Oh, we'll get to it. We'll
Yeah.
get to it. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's not a big deal." He's not thinking cancer. He's just thinking maybe my body's just doing something weird. And so I literally remember getting off the phone call and I turned towards my husband and I was like, "My dad's going to die." And he was like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I told him, I was like, "I can feel it. It's going to happen." And immediately he's like, "Don't say all
Mm.
that, yada, yada, yada." But so we start this whole process and boy, does it go back. It goes freaking fast.
When you initially found out about your dad's diagnosis, what kind of mode did your brain go in? Because you have fight or flight, you have a fixer mode, you have depressed, like what, and especially you being a nurse, like did your brain just immediately go into, okay, we're going to take care of it or what? And then what at the same time did you find like most important to be doing whenever you found out he did have cancer?
Let me put this into perspective for those that, were not a part of my life during this time. I got back from my honeymoon a few days before Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
and my father died of January 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So we had less than a month.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was absolutely the worst time. There's no right time, but this was the worst time for anything like this to happen because at this point, I had just been off for 2.5 full weeks of work. I had
Yeah.
no time.
Yeah.
I had no PTO. And I'm a
Mm-hmm.
nurse, so I am grateful that I only worked 3 days, but I was also on night shift and I was a newlywed.
Yep.
So I was in a position where I couldn't ask off for work because
Yeah.
we're not at end stage yet, or what I thought was an end stage. And so my dad's like, "You have to work, Jade." Okay. So I'm working, trying to work my 3 days. He's like, "I'm just taking tests right now." So he starts taking his test. It gets to the point where it's like, okay, take a test, Christmas, don't have any answers. Take a test, it's New Year's Eve. Take just no answers. And then they thought it was gallbladder. They thought it was all these different things. So he just gets worse and worse. He's getting skinnier and skinnier. And finally they're like, "Hey, you gotta go. You gotta go to Dallas."
Yeah.
He got jaundice. And at this point I had only seen him a few times
Mm-hmm.
because he was either getting tested or he was at the hospital when I worked, the nights that I worked, because he spent New Year's Eve there. My husband actually went and stayed with him, which was, ugh, I just can't. It'll make me cry if I talk more on that. But he finally starts heading to Dallas with my brother because I had to work. And so it was Tuesday, just 8 days before he died. He was
Yeah.
headed to Dallas, and one of the doctors calls because they had done a biopsy. And they said, "You have stage 4 cancer." And your cancer just completely spread to your liver, and it is blowing up right now. Your liver is covered. And so the thought process is that somehow, some way, whatever was in his eye spread. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes for cancer, it's not the first cancer that killed you, it's spreading.
Yeah.
It's the Mets. And so That's awesome news. I just remember getting a phone call of him telling me, and I didn't even know how to process that.
Well,
And
yeah, that's your dad.
yeah,
That's your
that's
dad.
my dad. And so immediately he's like, we're headed to Dallas, obviously, right now. We're gonna go get more answers. Cause now I'm like, okay, are we stage 4? Like, we're not coming back from this, or is it stage 4? This is gonna be a really freaking hard fight.
Yeah.
Like, what's the dealio? I also have at this time a little 4-year-old sister. So it's
Mm-hmm.
my 25-year-old brother, me 23, and then my little 4-year-old sister.
Yeah.
And so he drives down there, does testing, all that stuff. He tells me not to come, and he sends my brother home
Mm.
just because he knew it was going to be a couple days. We did not expect the answers that we got. And so he was just like, I'll meet y'all when we get back in Abilene. Please just do that.
I think that in itself shows a testament to who he was
Insane.
because he's doing that all by himself. All by himself.
Yeah. Like, I literally don't know how him and my stepmom made it through that week. That is a whole nother story of watching that. But
Yeah.
so that was Tuesday, drove down. Thursday evening before I go to work, I get a call from my dad, and
It's okay. Take your time. We're being real.
yo, yeah, so real. I feel like I've only said this like a couple times in my life, but it was basically a FaceTime of him and my stepmom saying, this is it. There's no cure.
Yeah.
There's just no cure. They have no answers. And y'all might be thinking, oh, we can do a liver transplant. You can do all these things. And
No.
at this point, they were running out of options. And so Thursday night was a big night because it was, yeah, this is it. This is going to kill me. We just didn't know a time frame yet. So that's a whole thing. And I literally had to go to work after that, which was crazy.
That is, it's unexplainably awful for you to have to go back to work after hearing that.
Yeah. And I probably shouldn't have. But like I
No.
said, I was in the NICU, so I got to just go hold some babies, which was good. But Saturday, me and my husband went to just go like be with my brother because we were all here, like,
Yeah.
without my stepmom and my dad. And we get a phone call, and it's basically saying that there's just no options because the cancer has now spread to his blood.
Mm-hmm.
And once it's spread there, we can't just do a transplant because the blood will affect the new liver.
Yeah.
Also with
And you'll
like,
just be right back to where you were.
yeah, and then also the meds that he would have to be put on in order to even do a transplant, like none of it would have worked.
Yeah.
Every doctor in Dallas was working on him basically, like in the Fort Worth, Dallas area, and there was just nothing. They were out of options. They said that like the doctor came in and like wept with him.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "Well, I'll be on my way home tomorrow." And so he comes home on Sunday. He got to spend the night at his brother's house, and his parents and his sister and like all of our 2 nephews and all of them were there, and so they got to spend a good night with him. And then we came over on Sunday, obviously, and he tried to make us open Christmas gifts because we hadn't done Christmas. And it was the worst experience of my life because none of us want to open Christmas, but we're now realizing it's our last one.
Yeah.
So awful night. I don't even know am I doing this right? Like just explaining all this, but
No, you're doing exactly what you are meant to be doing.
Monday comes around, and he he knows it's coming. And I had told Alex, my husband, when I saw him on Sunday, like when I saw my dad for the first time, I told him, I was like, yeah, he's not making it to next Sunday. And they were coming home with the idea of we've got months, at
Yeah.
least weeks,
I
but
remember
like
that.
we have months. So like we're just going to spend all this time together. We're going to go on trips, whatever we need to do to just spend quality time together. And I took one look at him and I was like, nope. It's not happening.
Yeah, you knew better.
We're not even lasting a week. And so Monday we start like telling the police department and things like that. One, y'all, he wrote letters to the police department,
Ugh.
like a goodbye letter with wishes. about his kids and his wife. Oh my gosh, I can never read it again. It was the hardest thing I've ever seen a grown man do. Like he was weeping as he wrote it.
One of my questions is like touching base on that is we've talked about how great of a dad he was, but also how great of a person he was. And even in his final moments, your dad continued to lift others up and continued to spread the word of Jesus. And he continued to be a guiding heart for those around him. Even in his final moments when he literally was so weak, couldn't sit up, couldn't keep his eyes open, things like that. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
How did that impact you and just the way that you look at life moving forward from this? Because that's so inspiring to be able to do that whenever you're on your deathbed and all he thinks about is others.
Yeah. I was just so astonished. And it was almost sad that I didn't have the faith in my dad that he would do that until the end when my dad was a youth pastor back in the day and we did mission work and Jesus has been his number one for a long time.
And he
And
made that very aware
yeah,
to everyone.
and his kids at school knew about it. Jesus was his number one. But I just think that the world just sometimes like sickness just catches up to you and some like Jesus ends up being on the back burner sometimes
Yeah.
because there's just so much going on. But that was not my dad. I remember asking him, like, are you scared? Are you angry? Like with God that like you have a 4-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And he literally was like, oh, I'm so thankful. He was like, I got 47 years and I'm sitting here over here shocked that I'm watching him go and he's over here thanking the Lord.
Yeah.
That kind of strength is incredible.
That kind of faith.
Yeah, that is straight from the Lord. And I've never been so proud of him in that moment because he's like, I got to be a pastor, I got to be a police officer, I got to do mission work with you and your mom and your brother. I got to help the kids. I got to baptize your stepmom. I got to baptize we got to dedicate your sister. Like all these things. He was like, I would never have got to do that if I had died any earlier. And so that just opened up a new reality and a new passion for the Lord because like I want that right there. Like I want to be able to without a doubt just be so beyond grateful
Yeah.
for whether it's 24 years or if it's 84.
Yeah.
And just to be able to watch my dad cuz the Monday that he got back it consisted of people just coming over, whether it was 10 minutes or if it was a little bit longer. And guys, when I tell you he had no energy, but he gave it everything he had. He praised the Lord. He listened to so much Brandon Lake. So that is another reason why we love him so
Yeah.
much. But he just took his literally last day and a half to just thank the Lord, to love on others, and to just give encouragement of all
Yeah.
things. Like
He did.
you're encouraging other people to pursue their faith or like to pursue the good in life and just
Yeah.
continue on and not let this change their mind about faith or about what life is like because hardships happen and that's just a part of it.
Yeah.
And so just the respect that I have for that man, it just like
Oh, 1,000,000%.
yeah, I already had so much, but it was just I just can't even describe the feelings that I had during those moments.
Yeah. And I remember the night before he passed, whenever me and Austin went in there to say our goodbyes and everything, and you said, Dad, Austin and Keetyn are here. And it was almost like he took literally all his strength to just say, huh, Austin and Keetyn. And then he went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And that was the last thing. So I feel like even when he literally had nothing left, he was making sure that others knew that he loved them, that he cared about them. And then most of all, that he loved Jesus and to pursue Jesus. I have no doubt about it that when he passed, he got there and God said, "Good job, my good and faithful servant."
Oh
Like,
yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember after that just walking out and just thinking, wow. You could just tell he was fighting.
Oh
He was fighting so hard. And I remember you said, he can't even stay awake for 30 seconds. So don't expect much
yeah.
whenever we went over there. And so that was rough, but he was trying. He was trying so hard. And you could just tell that he didn't want to go, but he was like, if this is the Lord's plan, this is the Lord's
Oh
plan.
yeah.
Like he was definitely just with it and along for the ride. Being newlyweds, what did Alex do during that time that really secured your heart and saying, like, I married the right person, no doubt about it? And thinking, I didn't know that we were going to have to go through this just a month after we got married, but we are. And him doing this makes me so grateful that I chose him because no one else would have done that.
So, like I said, this was all quick. So by the time that he got home, which was just a few days after, everything got basically diagnosed, this is terminal, and then you've got a few months, and then he gets home, and I'm like, no, we've got days. We stayed over there from Sunday until the moment he passed, and just something like as little as that might not even seem like a big deal, but there was not even a question behind
Why y'all are staying over
behind why
there.
we're saying. He was like, "Yeah, let's go. We're going right now. We're
Yeah.
gonna do this." And mind you, my husband's in PT school at this time, and still is, and he's supposed to be studying for tests right now, and he is actively trying to give everyone his all.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say there was like any big gesture from any of it. I think it was just the consistency, like the quiet
Yeah.
consistencies that was my husband. There was just never a rush because I feel like oftentimes with grief, so many people are going to rush it
Uh-huh.
because the outside people can only give so much. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to be there in the beginning. They're going to give you the food, they're going to give you the places to stay. They're going to check on you for a month, 2 months, and then they're going to continue on with life. And
Yeah, they're
so
gonna
it's
move on.
it's the friends and the family and the spouses that's when you see it. And there was just there was never a moment where I had to just get over it.
Yeah.
It was there was just I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to cry with you.
Yeah.
We're going to be in this moment and we're going to let it ride out however it is. And there are nights that I would just weep into him.
Yeah.
And one of the things that has meant the most is he'll be like, "Babe, just tell me when you're having a real bad day, and I'll do everything." Not that he wouldn't do it anyways, but it's like,
He knows that he has to put more in that day
yeah,
because
and
you're running on empty.
yeah, when I have negative, he's like, "Well, let me give you 1,000, babe. Like,
Yeah.
I got it all." There was just a calmness about having someone that continued to choose me
Yeah.
every single day in some of the darkest days of my life. And I think I mentioned it in one of the early podcasts. I struggle a little bit with anger. And so
Yeah.
this obviously did not help. And so when I tell you I've not been a pleasant person to come home to on some days, and he is still like, "Babe, I love you with everything that I have."
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that our marriage shouldn't have been tested so soon. My dad died a month and a day after we got married.
Yeah.
This was not in our bingo cards for 2025. I want to tell you, my husband was just, and it still is, just here in any moment that
Yeah.
I need him. And I feel like that's meant the most to me. I just never needed some big gesture. It's just, I'm going to be here with whatever you got.
Yeah.
So, whether it's nothing or whether it's everything.
Yeah. Are there any things that you do in your day-to-day life to incorporate, the memory of your dad? Or is there anything that happens and you just say to yourself, hey, I know you're here. I know you're making yourself known right now.
So it's actually funny because I've always struggled with whether or not people look down on it, like people from above look down on us. I
Mm.
think from a grief standpoint and from I need therapy, my brain tells me that. I think that faithfully, I don't think that he's looking down and worrying about me, because if you were in heaven, looking down on the earth would only bring you sadness with everything that's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
so I actually believe that he's just living his best life with Jesus and is not even concerned of anything of the world. That's
Interesting.
something that I actually are trying to like dive into and learn.
Mm-hmm.
But from a earthly, like, some days I just need a little pick me up, I convince myself, oh, that was you, Dad. But I think for me, I will never forget him.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't feel like I have to I don't feel like I need to talk about him every day. I don't feel like
Yeah.
I need to keep his memory alive, because it'll always be there
Yeah.
with me and the ones that I think that are important.
Yeah.
I have like a couple of shelves that are like a memorial to him, and I have his flag and all that good stuff. But I just,
That they gave you at the funeral.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess for me, I write letters. I have a little journal that I write letters to him.
Which is so healthy.
Oh yeah. Oh
I'm
my gosh.
so proud of you.
If you have any sort of grief, honestly anything, writing down your thoughts is so good for
So
you.
therapeutic.
But yeah, for me, and sometimes I'll just start talking. I'll be like, "Hey God, hey Dad, I'm talking to you both," you know.
Yeah.
I feel like just doing that, and then I'll go obviously watch videos and stuff like that. Just depends on how much I want to cry that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like anytime I hear his voice, oh
Oh.
my gosh, it's insane. Or I have his cologne. Like my stepmom
Uh-huh.
bought, I don't know, 5 new bottles of his cologne so that we could
Uh-huh.
always smell him. But every single day you'll catch me in one of his shirts.
Yeah.
He was a big boy. So
He was a
like
big
I
boy.
sleep in his shirts all the time. So I feel like those are the little things that
And
I
you have his
do.
wallet.
I do. Yeah, I have people look at me because
She
like,
literally has an old man.
yeah, I'm not the girliest girl, but I have little dainty purses and girly clothes, and then I pull out my wallet and it's definitely a brown leather man's wallet.
Yeah.
And it's just
She like
something
flips it open.
it's just something that I'm just like, oh, that's with him. And then I also have him and my mom's wedding ring, because he got remarried, and no problems there. Love mom and love stepmom. But I just have their old wedding ring. So it's just
Yeah.
another piece. And I have a thumbprint. So I don't know. I feel like there's just so many ways that I get reminded of him all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's more important. Yeah.
I think for me, I'm not gonna lie, every single time I see a police car,
Yeah.
I think of him, especially here in Abilene. They have the SUVs and that's what he drove. And every time I see like specifically one of those, I think of him. And then, but every time I drive past Craig, I get teary eyed because that's where he was an SRO at, and that's where my mom worked at. And he was just such an important guy.
Yeah.
An important guy, and very important in my life as well, because he was there. I mean, we've been friends since sixth grade, so he was there picking on me when I was
Yep.
in sixth and seventh grade.
Now Keetyn.
Yeah.
Yada yada yada.
Yeah. And I think also just a testament of who he was. I could walk into the house and he could look at me. He would not even say anything. He would just come over and give me a hug, say, "Love you, kiddo." And that was him acknowledging that I was not okay and that I needed that.
Yeah.
And that meant a lot because he wasn't really one to talk about feelings,
Yeah.
especially with me, which is understandable, but he always made sure that I knew that I was like one of his kids and that he was there for me and all the things. And I remember, oh my gosh, I remember dancing with him at my wedding. That was the first time I ever danced with him, and I was just like, this is so much fun. And we were just goofing around the whole time. And then I remember also Caitlin came when we were dancing and she wanted to dance with us.
Yeah. Keelan's my little sister.
Yeah, he's just oh my gosh, one of the best guys ever, and I will die on that hill for him. But lastly, gosh, this is a hard episode.
Yeah. Woo!
What has been the most impactful thing to help your healing through this journey of grief? And how did this tragic loss of your daddy change you as a person and, maybe even your marriage?
Woo. Big question.
Big last question.
When I was in the NICU, I had talked to, like, leading up to those days before he passed, I actually had another nurse friend who her dad had passed from cancer too. Actually, two, which that to me was a God thing for sure. I
Mm-hmm.
started asking them, hey, in these final moments, what did you do?
Yeah.
And one of them was like, start recording his voice, which we had plenty, so I wasn't too worried about that. But one said, take a picture of you holding his hand.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people do that, but like, I'm not a big picture person, especially when it comes to healthcare
We're
world.
definitely in the moment.
Yeah, I
People.
would never think to pull out my phone, but he was sleeping one day and I did it. And boy, does that picture just, it wasn't like a totally healthy hand, but like I put it in black and white so that you can't see
Yeah.
his color.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell it's not like we're
He's
healthy.
sick.
Yeah, we're healthy, but it's just one of those where you can still see the muscles in his hand. And
Yeah.
it just kind of reminds you of the person that he is, I guess.
Yeah.
Without like having to scream, I'm sick.
Yeah.
And I think that's important because obviously I saw him in his final moments, but that's not how I choose to remember him.
Right.
You know? And so that was important to me. Definitely writing, like I talked about. And then faith and friends. Like you, I don't know how people get through this without the Lord's help.
I know.
There were so many times, and you've talked about this too with your sickness journey. You had nothing and you just opened up your Bible.
Yep.
And that's what I had to do.
Yeah.
There were days where I was like, how do I go to work? Because I didn't have a choice not to go to work because I'm paying for my husband to go to school and bills and all that. And so there were days where I'm just on my hands and knees and just giving it all to the Lord. And
Because at that point, you don't have anything left. You don't have anything left to give.
No. And literally by his goodness and his grace, the people that came in that season, it's only by his miracle and his work. That's all to the Lord because the amount of people, and you've talked about it too, people that you don't even know.
Yeah.
Random people in the next town over were giving up Airbnbs so that people from Arlington, where we used to live, could come and stay for free.
Yeah.
The amount of things that I saw that shouldn't have happened that happened that were just the purest of hearts. I don't even know if any of that made sense.
Like blessings just out of the blue.
Literally just insane blessings. All that was from the Lord. And so that was just one of those where it's just another thing where it's like, and this is why my dad believed so hard because stuff like this happens. But yeah, also as far as grief, I like to think of grief as a scab. It's really raw, it's open, it's bleeding at first, and it's going to heal over time, but you bump it and then it opens back up. I just feel like it's a really, really nasty scab, which it might be gross, but that's just someone described it that way, and I just see it like that because you can be so fine and then randomly one day you hit it against the counter and boy, it drops you and you're not prepared to deal with anything else that day. And so for days like that, I just say to lean on your people, lean on the Lord, and just take a day because the one thing is you don't have to be strong.
No.
And you've talked about that too.
Yeah.
We've got to get over this. I'm okay.
Stigma of you have to be okay. You have to be strong about everything that goes on in life. That's bullcrap. You don't.
Take a freaking day for yourself to be sad.
Take a day. I wish more people would say and be okay with saying, hey, I'm not okay today. I need to stay at home.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And yes, I understand that work has to get done and we have to go to work and we have to be adults and everything. But also, if you're not taking care of yourself, what kind of work are you going to get done?
Yeah.
So that's just my opinion. But I guess just to end this, I just want to say that I know for a fact that he's looking down and so proud of you. He's so proud of you and Luke. I think that he would love that we're doing this
Oh my
podcast.
gosh.
He would love it. And I wish he was here to have his wise words and to share those with us and listeners. But I think that talking about him and the kind of person he was is just going to carry his legacy on.
Yeah.
But I know he's so proud of you and that he loves you so much because, I mean, you were his baby girl.
Yeah. I will say, it's probably not just be one piece of advice, it'll probably be a couple things, but one thing that I stress on people that have experienced grief is to not compare your grief to other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been a very important lesson because I mean, obviously people have passed away since my dad, and whether it be like, other family members or friends that have had grandparents or even like
Yeah.
dogs pass away, and they don't want to tell me because they're like, well, your dad passed. I'm like, that shouldn't take away from your grief.
Yeah.
If your grandma died at 102, good Lord, that still hurts. Like,
Yeah.
you're just, I don't think that death is ever expected, even when it is expected. And so, just a piece of advice is to, if you have someone that has had to grieve earlier in life for a parent or a sibling or something like that, don't shy away from them
No.
because they have what it takes to get you through it too.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know what it's like to have those hard conversations.
Mm-hmm. And I think that that's happened a lot with me since being sick is people don't want to tell me about their problems because they're like,
Yeah.
you're sick. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but your stuff is still so valid.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. I hate when people are like, well, it's just not a big deal. And one of my other friends does that a lot. And I just always tell her it doesn't matter. Yours is still valid. You're still valid in saying you're upset. It doesn't matter if it's this huge thing or this small thing. It's still something that's making you sad and upset. So it's worth talking about. And you don't have to compare it to what I'm going through.
Yeah.
On my deathbed, I will still be there for you. So it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
you know?
I will never know what you're going through,
Right.
like in your journey. And honestly, when people are grieving or they are sick or just
Mhm.
going through something that's hard, I feel like we want to help people
1000%.
because
We're helpers and we're care like
yeah,
I think me and you have both the same heart of we want to care for people and fix and help and serve and all the things.
yeah,
And some people don't let that happen because they're too shy about what they're going through.
yeah. And I may not have all the right answers or I might cry or whatever the case may be, but we can get the job
Yeah.
done. We can fix things
Yeah.
and I don't know. And so all I know, our motto during all this was this sucks. I remember at the funeral my brother gave a whole speech
That was
and
so hard.
that's literally what he said the whole time is that this sucks
This
because
sucks. That was I think the first thing that he said too.
yeah. So that's my advice to people that grieve, whether it's early before someone should have died or if it's over someone who is 110 and it was their time. It still sucks. It's still hard. It doesn't your pain doesn't have to be diminished by
Mhm.
anyone. You go through whatever process you need and just keep their memory alive however you need to.
This is kind of a little silly, but I used to tell my students because they'd be like, oh, this sucks what we're doing. And I'd be like, live in the suck. You got to live in it to
Literally.
get through it.
Literally.
So I think it's healthy to grieve and allow yourself to do that because if you just push it away, it's going to affect you so
Yeah.
much down the
It
road.
it does not do anything
It doesn't do anything.
and it hits so much harder.
Yeah. So I want you to know I'm proud of you for how you've handled everything and how you've taken such an awful thing and turned it into something good in your life as far as who you are, your faith, things like that. So, just want you to know that I'm proud of you
Thank
and
you.
we love him
We do.
so much.
It's just so insane. But when y'all think about this story, just think about Daniel Henning. That's his name. That's who he was. Daniel David Henning. He was the best. And then also think about my stepmom, my little sister, and my brother because they got it hard. You
Yeah.
know, I at least have my husband to come home to every day, and I'm super outgoing, so I've got the friends and all the things. My brother's a little bit more reserved, and then my stepmom's taking care of a little girl. So
Yeah.
just keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
That would be great. You are supposed to pray this time, but I don't know if you want to.
You got it, girl.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pray. If you're able and willing, please bow your head so that way we can bless us or bless y'all. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for today. I thank you for allowing us to come on this podcast and to reach listeners. And I thank you for giving Jade the courage and the words to let people know about this awful thing that's happened. I pray that you cover her heart in your warmth, in your healing, in your light. And I just pray that she feels that all the time because that's who Daniel was, Lord. He was warmth, he was light, and he was love. That is what encompassed him. And I pray that you cover your hands over Amy and Luke and Caitlin and everyone who is affected by his passing. Lastly, I just want to say that I pray over this message. I pray that most of all, that who Daniel was at his core is represented through this podcast and that people realize that, listen to it, and feel it, and that it changes someone's life or someone's thought process, maybe about faith or how they look at life or what they're doing, their walk in with Christ, anything. Lord, I just thank you for all of the things that Daniel was and who he continues to be through his legacy, through his daughter and his kids. Thank you for his love that continues to shine through his kids. And thank you for just everything that you've given us up to this point, all the blessings that we see and that we don't, and for continuously showing up for us because that is what we need, especially through grief, is we need you, Lord, on the days that we can't physically, mentally, emotionally, we can't keep going. Thank you for sending your son on the cross to die for our sins. And thank you for just everything that we see and that we don't that has been touched by you, Lord. We love you so much and we pray that and we know that Daniel is up there worshiping you with everything he has. And we can't wait for that day to see him again, Lord. And we love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Wow, that was a real one.
That was a real one.
Thank y'all so much for listening.
Thank you for sharing. I know it takes a lot and it takes, obviously an emotional toll on you. So thank you for sharing and being willing to put your story out there and your dad's story. And it's a lot.
You're welcome.
But as always, like and subscribe, comment what you want to hear from us, whether that's more stories like this or some of the fun episodes that we do, like last episode.
I'm assuming the next one will be fun too.
Yes, this next one will be fun. This one was a little dark.
It probably wrecked, yeah.
Yeah, but follow us. You can email us stories that we can share on the pod or just stuff that you want us to know, whatever. But most of all, just look out for whenever we release a new episode every week.
All right, y'all. All right, that was the end of episode 5. Thank y'all so much for listening. Do all the things that Keetyn said because she's the boss lady. But remember, stay messy, honest, and remember that you were made for freaking more.
You are made for more. And Mr. Daniel Hanning, he exhibited that every single day.
And as he said, go be a leader and not a follower.
Love it. All right.
Love it.
Bye, guys.
Bye.